Hi, friends. Welcome to another episode of FullStack Healthcare Management System. This is Code Wave. Okay, so in our last episode, we worked on the doctor dashboard as well as the profile page. So if you didn't watch that video, you can check the links or the pop-up and just watch that. So currently, I'm logged in as the admin, and we're going to work on the admin dashboard. Okay, so don't forget to like and subscribe. You can also find the full source code in the link in the description below. Okay, so let's continue from where we left. So I'll go into the protected route and now the admin dashboard. Okay, and you can see it says admin dashboard and the app is running on port 3001. Okay, so you can see admin dashboard 3001. Okay, so we're on this dashboard. Okay, so in here, we also need to fetch the admin dashboard stats. And if you remember, the dashboard seems kind of similar. So it will be pretty easy. Okay, so we just have to go inside the utils services and we can perhaps create one service that is admin.ts. Okay. Okay, so in here we're going to say that export async function. Okay, then I'll say get admin dashboard stats. Okay, and in here we'll not take anything, so it'll be like this, right? Okay, so we're going to use a try catch. So great. So on error, okay, we'll just console log the error, as well as we can return that error to true, and the message will be that something went wrong. Okay, maybe something like this. Okay, so this is an function, so remove the arrow from here. Okay, great. So like this. So now let's begin to fetch the information that we'll need. Okay, so if you remember, we have the days of the week function, so we can also get the day. So we can say today date should be new date, right? And we can even get the day. So get day like this. Okay, and now we can get day of let's just call it today. Okay, so it will be equal to days of week function, okay, which is in the utils in this file. Then we just pass today's date to it. Okay, great. It should be like this. Okay, like this. Okay, so this will help us get the day, which is a string, right? Okay. On that basis, we can fetch the available doctors. Okay. So here also we're going to use promise.all. Okay, and the things we'll be fetching, we just say await promise.all. Okay, like this. Okay, so what are the informations we'll need? Okay, so we'll need the total patients. We'll also need the total doctors, appointments, as well as doctors. Okay, great. So here we can just say db, make sure import from utils dot patients, right? Okay, dot count. So we just count patient. The next one will be, okay, so have some suggestions. So db.doctors.count and db.appointment.count. Okay, here we will not count, but we'll find, right? We'll find many. Great. And the last one, we'll also find doctors. Okay, so doctors. Great. So let's work on this one. Okay, so here we just want to fetch some recent appointments. So there's no need of work condition. So maybe we just include. So we'll just say include. Okay, we want to include the patient. Okay, so we select. Great. Great. What are we selecting from the patient? We select the ID to true, last name to true, first name also to true, and what again, image to also true, as well as the color code also to true. Okay, we can also take gender as well as date of birth. Okay. Okay, let me break it down. Okay, so these are the information selecting from patient. Okay, so we just come down and we also need to get the doctor. So we'll also select from the doctor, we'll select the name, true, image, true, color code, true. The doctor does not have gender, so we'll say specialization to also true. Okay, and now that, okay, here, so after the include, we can now say order. Great, we want to order by the appointment date in descending order. Okay, great. Now let's also check on the doctors. So here we'll put a work condition because we want to get those that are available. So we'll put a work condition of the working day, and we'll just say some, right, meaning they exist. Then we'll check the day. Okay, so I want to make sure that the formatting will work. So if you remember, we'll just say equals. So just say days, then we'll just say equals, great, the today, and we'll also set the mode to insensitive. Okay, great. So we're checking if the day, the working day, is equal to today, right? Setting the case, the mode to insensitive, so that if they are capitals and small, I mean, all will work. Okay, great. So now without the work condition here, now we can select the fields we want. Okay, so the fields we want are the ID, the name, specialization, image, and color code. Okay, great. So these are what we'll also take from the doctor. Okay, great. Now below here, we can also get the process. We can process the appointment by using the util that we have, which is process appointment, which is in the patient file, the patient service file. So if you don't understand this one, kindly watch some of the previous video. You understand how we created that function. Okay, and we just pass the appointment to it. The appointments that we have here, we'll pass this one to it. Okay, great. So once we pass that to it, there are things we expect back, such as the appointment count, as well as the monthly data. Once we have that, we can also get the last 5 records, or you can make it 10, anyone you want. Okay, I'll just slice the appointment. So the appointments, not the appointment count, dot slice. I'll slice from 0 to 5. Okay. There is no need to fetch them again since we have it here. We just have to use the slice. And because it is ordered in descending, the latest one will come first. Okay. Here we can, even the doctors, we can put a condition after this. We can say we want to take only 5, right? Yeah, only 5. Let's take 5 for now. Okay, so now we can send all of this information. So by saying return. Okay, so I have all of this. So available doctors will be the doctors. Okay, great. Okay, status of 200 and success is true. And we have all these records here. Okay, so now we can come here and make sure, see, this is an async function. Great. And inside here, now we can get the information. Okay, so just say await get admin dashboard. Okay, great, import it. Great, and let's call it like this. Now I will just want to okay, so import it. Now we can get the information. Okay, so we can get the available doctors, the last 5 records, the appointment count, the monthly data, and total doctors, total patient. Okay, so we have all of this. Okay, I also want to bring the data. Okay, so we have been using this over and over, so you know of it by now. Okay, so we'll pass the total patient here and import the icon. Okay, and it has a link of manage patients. Okay, great. I also import this, and this one also passing the total doctors, right? Okay, you can modify it to whatever you need. Okay, and I think I also need to get the total appointments. Okay, so maybe in here we can say total appointment, right? Should be the appointment dot length. Great. The appointment dot length, because we fetch the appointment up there, so we just pass the length here. Okay, and now I can import that one as total appointment. Okay, great. So that one also has this icon. Okay, and this one also. So the appointment count also has completed appointments, right? The number of completed appointments, yes, which is either a number or undefined. Okay, great. So now that we have this, let's begin on the design. Okay, so I'll give a classes here, and I will want to say py of 6, px of 3, right? Okay, it should be flex column. On x, it should be flex row. Okay, rounded of excel and a gap of 6. Okay, so you know the drill. Normally we do have two sides. Okay, so now we have the left side, and we also have the right side. Okay, so let's work on the left side. In the left side, I'll put this div with classes. That will signify that it should be full normally, and on Excel, the width should be 69%. Okay, great. Okay, let's also just fix the left. So I'll just, I mean the right. So I'll copy this. And as I said, instead of 31, I want to put 30 so that the gap will also have some space. Okay, great. Because this plus this will not make 100, but I just want to leave the 1% for the gap. Okay, great. So in the left part here, which is pretty simple. So what we're going to do is we're going to show the start summary. So I'll just call the component start summary, yes, with this one, and I'll have to pass the data, which is the appointment count. Great. Then I also pass the total, which is the total appointment. Okay, great. So I'll put exclamation mark to tell it that it exists. Okay, great. And this one, let's give it a height. So I'll say the width should be full and a height of 450 pixels. Okay, great. And below it, it's where we put the available doctors components. So here, then I also pass the data of available doctors. Great, like this. And I will put this also. Okay, should I say it should be any? And let's see. Okay, great. Let me make a type here, any. Okay, so if we go back, let's go and check our progress. So this is what we have. We have this cards here. So we have 17 appointments with 3 completed. Okay, and the available doctors. Okay, and we also have this available doctors. Great. Okay, so let's work on this side. Great. So we're done with the left side. Let's come to the right side. So in here, I'm going to have a div that I'll provide some classes. Okay, so BG of white. I'm going to say rounded of Excel, pattern of 4, and margin bottom of 8. Okay, inside this, I have another div which will house the title. So I'll say class flex item to center and a justify to between, as well as margin bottom of 4. Okay, so inside it, we're going to put an H1, which will say H1, which will say star text this. Okay, like this. Then I'll give the class. Okay, so the text will be LG, font of semi bold. Then below it, then I'll put a button, import it from UI components. Okay, and I'll put date, so new date. Then I'll say dot get full year. Okay, like this. Okay, so here I also want to change the size, so I'll say size, it should be small, and I also want to change the variant. The variant will be outline. Okay, so if we go to check, okay, so we have statistics and the date here. Okay, great. Okay, so we're done with this part. So Okay, so now let's get the stats card. So yeah, below this div housing the title and the button. Okay, we'll have another div with classes. Okay, so we're gonna say away width or full. Okay, so flex and flex wrap. Okay, great, and a gap of 5. So inside this, it's where we're going to map over the card. So I'll say card data, which is up there, this data here, right? Okay. Okay, so I'll say card data dot map, and I'll get each element with index, and I will immediately return the stats card that we have. Okay, so from component stats card. Okay, and let's begin to pass the props. So first I'll pass a key of the index, the title of title, there's a value of value, there's an icon of icon, and the class name of class, and also test class of class, of sorry, icon class name. Okay, and this I want to pass in this. Okay, what again is left? I think we're left with a note also of note, and a link also of link. Great, so I think this. Okay, so we don't have any warnings. Let's go and see. Great, so we have the cards also here. Great, similar to what we had already. Okay, so after this card, we can come down to div, but still inside the left component. Okay, great. And that's where we're going to show the chart. Okay, the chart and the recent appointments. So I'll have a div with a class of height of 500 pixels. And inside it, we're going to have the appointment chart. Okay, great. And we'll pass the data of the monthly data. Okay, great. So exclamatory mark, great. Aside that, we'll also have another div. And let's give some classes to this. Okay, a BG of white, rounded of Excel, a P of 4, that's padding, and margin top of also 8. And inside it, we'll show the recent appointment. Okay, imported. Then data to be last, the data is last 5 records. Great. Something like this. And also we can put the exclamatory to make sure it exists. Okay. So this is it for the dashboard. Let's go and see. Okay, so we have the chart here. We have 1 record. Okay. Okay, we have 1. Okay, yeah, that's in January. We have 2. Okay, great. And we have the recent here, and out of the box, this one's also work. Okay, great. So where do we go? Maybe we can now work on the users. Okay, so let's go the line by line then, because the admin has a lot of functionality. So once we're able to complete most of them, the other features will also work for the other users. Okay, so we can go to users. Okay, so the users page does not exist. So what we're going to do is I'm going to close all of this, go inside the records, and in here we're going to create the users. So it will be users/page.tss, and I'll say users page. Okay, so here I'll just want to put the columns. Okay, great. So these are the columns. It has the user ID, the name, the email, the role of the user, the status, as well as the last login. Okay, great. So let's also create some types, right? Okay, now with this user, we're going to fetch the user information from Click, right? Since we don't have a table for all the users, right? So we can as well as fetch all of the users from Click, because the IDs of Click are what we're also using as our IDs. Okay, so I'll just say interface user props. Okay, so each user will have an ID, which is a string. They also have a first name, which is also a string, as well as last name, which is a string. There will also be email addresses. Okay, so Clerk has it this way, email addresses, and inside the email addresses, there will be the email address. So they have email addresses, and inside the email address, there is email address. Okay. Which will be a string. And this email addresses, as the name goes, it will be an array, right? Okay, so this is how we can say. So it will be an array of email addresses which has email address. Okay. There's also the public metadata. Okay, which will also have the row of the user, which is also a string. Okay, so public metadata will have row and it's a string, as well as the last sign in at. Okay, so last sign in at, which is a number or a string. Okay, let's put it that way. Okay, so it's either a number or a string. Last sign in at. Okay, sign in. Great. Okay. Okay, so now we don't have anything here. Okay, so this is what we have. We don't have anything. Okay, so how we can fetch the users from Click is this way. Let's also make it an async. And what we can do is that we can also say const, then we'll destructure the information. So say await Click. Okay, so let's first create an object. Let's create an instance of client using the Click client. Great. So make sure you import from Click client, not create Click client. Okay, so here we'll just say client, right, dot users, right, dot get user list. Great. Get user list. So maybe we can even order the records. So we can just say order by. Okay, so there's an order by, and what I'm going to say is negative, right? So these are the fields you can order by. So I'm going to order by created at date. Yes, created at. Great. So the negative here means that in descending order, right? Meaning the recent one comes first. Okay, so the information we'll get data, and we'll also get total count. Okay, great. Okay, so maybe let's try to console log the data as well as total count and see. Okay, so I'll make my terminal a little bit bigger. Okay, so they are undefined. Okay, so make sure to remove this. This isn't supposed to be there. So let's put await here. Okay, great. Then it should work. Okay, so let's see. Great, so now we have the information of the users, and we have 6 as a total, and this is the information of the users. Okay, great. So I'll remove this. And as usual, now let's form our table. So class name, bg, white, rounded of Excel, padding of 2 on MD. I want to padding to be 4, right? And on 2 Excel, I want the padding to be 6. Okay, so I'm getting this suggestion, so maybe I'll try it, and I'll make sure I close this div here. Okay, so I'm having a div, right, with flex item to center and justify to between. And okay, so I think I'll cut this, and inside this one I'll put another div, which will then this div, let me also start this div. It will be hidden, right? But on LG, it's going to be flex items to center and a gap of 1. Okay, so inside it, I'm going to have the icon, an icon. So I'll put this icon, then import it from Lucid React. You can use any icon of choice. Then I'll put the paragraph tag. which will then show the total. Okay, total count. Great. Here. Okay, let me start that paragraph tag. Okay, the text will be to Excel font dash semi-bold. Okay, great. Then below it, I'll put a span tag, which will say total users. Okay, let's also start this. So class test grade of 600, and the test to be small, but on Excel the test should be base. Okay, great. Now we can go see. So we have 6 users, total users. Okay, great. Okay, so now below all of this, okay, so below all of this, we can now come here and give a div, which will take the table that we have to table from component tables. This, then we'll pass data. We'll first have to pass, okay, columns. We can pass columns, then data to be data, then render row to render row. Yeah, okay. So let's create a render row here. Let's bring it here. So I'll say cons render row. Okay, so render row, and I will get the item, which will be type of user props. Great. And I'll return. Okay. So I have this. Let me take them off. Okay, great. So the table that will return will have a key, which will be the item.id, which is the user ID. And I'm also going to put some classes. Okay, so border bottom, and the border bottom grade 200. Okay, and even BG of slate 50. Okay, so slate 50. Let's say the text should be SM, and on hover, I want to change the BG of slate to also 50. Okay, great, to give a hover effect. Now, okay, so now I'll put TD table data, right? Great. And in here, I'm going to say item.id. Great. So we can also style this by saying that on small screen it should be hidden. We don't need the ID on small screen. And on LG table dash cell, great. Okay, table cell, great, so that it will show on the LG screen item to center, a gap of 2, and on MD gap of 4. I think we can even remove this gap since it is the only item we're showing. Okay, so if we check here, now we have all the IDs here. Okay, great. So maybe I can just duplicate this for the name, and here the name will be table cell item to center. This is not important, so I can give py of 2, right? On Excel, py of 4. So if you check, you can see that there are no spacing, so we're going to use the pattern here. We're going to use the pattern here to give spacing. Now you can see it looks pretty cool. Okay, so instead of ID here, we're going to put the first name, right? And we can also put item dot last name. Okay, great. Let's go. Okay, so we have the names here, and I think the font size is small, so maybe I'll leave it to base. Okay, I think this is cool, right? If you zoom it in like this also. Okay, maybe let me keep it to, yeah. Okay, so I'll duplicate this. Now this will be item dot, so the item dot email address, right? And since it's an array, I want to take the first one, then email address. Okay, so here it will also be visible, so I'll remove this, and this also not important. Or maybe we can, okay, let's keep it that way. Okay, so we have the email here. So now I'll duplicate this one again, and this time this will be for the row. So this dot public metadata dot row, right? Great. So this one I'll just want to put capitalized to make sure. Yes. Okay, so like this. Okay, great. Let me also bring another one, which will be what information again can we put? Okay, maybe we can just put a dummy information here that active, right? Okay. And this one, I think it can be hidden. And on maybe MD, we just say it should be active. Okay, then I can put maybe the last one, which will be the last login date. So maybe if I just say item dot last sign in. Okay, let's see how it looks like. Okay, so we have it in this number format, right? Okay, so maybe I can use the date format, right, from datafns like this, and I'll pass in this, right, and I'll say it should be year dash month dash date, and I'm not sure if this will work like the type format. Okay, it does. So yeah, we have it this way, including the type, right? Great. So we have it the last day and the type. Great. So if I zoom it out like this, okay, this is how it's supposed to be. Okay, great. Okay, great. So this is what we have. Okay, so without the users, so maybe we can go to doctors. Okay, so the doctors list page, let's go there. Okay, so I can close this, go inside the records, then doctors, right? Okay, great. So we have it this way. Okay, so here I also put the various columns. Okay, so these are the columns we'll need. Okay, so you can grab this from GitHub. Okay, great. So here also we need to make it an async, and because we're going to make paginations, right, we need to take the params. So I'll just say search params, which is coming from, okay, maybe I didn't put my params. Okay, so I want to bring this params because it's reusable, and we're just using it over and over again. So maybe I can just go inside the types here, right? And I'll just say index.ts, and I'll just put this. We're saying that search params props, right? Because this thing we'll be using it wherever we want to fetch, right? The params. So it's better we extract it here. So we get the search params, and each search param will have a key, which is a string, and the param itself will be either string or undefined. Okay, so great. So I can just bring it here and make sure I import this from types. Great. Okay, so here we can just say const search params, right, equal to await props dot search params. Okay, so this one we just want to await it. Okay. Okay, so we're getting some underline saying that await has no effect. So maybe I think what we can do is just make this a promise, right? Because if we don't bring the await, I think we'll get a warning, an error that says that the props can be await. So I'll just put this promise here, right? Okay, so promise, then angle bracket, then the whole of things go inside. And now we check here. Okay, so it's gone. Great. So once we have that, we can now get the doctors. So first, let's get the page. So on what page? So we just say search params. okay, dot page, which we use p, right? And if it does not exist, we just start from 1, okay. And let me put a question mark here. Okay, then I can just wrap all this as a string, right? Yeah, something like this. I can duplicate this to have the search query, right, which will be Q. And if it does not, I think I can just say no. Okay, so here now we're going to fetch the information. Okay, so inside the doctor's utils, so utils services and doctors, maybe yes, here we can fetch all the doctors. So here okay, let me get this, bring it down here and modify this. So I'm going to name this get all doctors. Okay, and in this page we'll be taking some props, and the props are we'll get, okay, so we'll get page, which is a number. We'll get a limit, which is a number. And let me make this optional. Yes, we can also get the search, and the search will also be optional, but this time a string. Great. Okay, so now we can destructure all of this props, so we can get the page, the limit if it does, as well as the search. Great. I think the page can be a string or a number, so yeah, let me just, and maybe that of also the limit. Yeah, okay, great. So here we can just say cons page number should be, and we just want to make sure the page is a number, so say number, then we'll pass in the page prop that we have received, and we'll check if it's less than or equal to 0, then we'll say it wants. If not, then we'll just pass the page number that we have received. So if what, okay, so question mark, great. So what we receive, if it is less than or equal to 0, there is no page 0. If it's that, they will make it 1. If not, they will take the page number that we have received. Okay, so here comes limit. Okay, so limit will also be number. We'll make sure it's a number. Then we put the limit that we have received. If it does not, I think we can put 10. Okay, so now let's get the skip. Okay, how we'll do the pagination. So we want to skip some of the items. So we'll say page number, right? Okay, minus 1, and we multiply it. We multiply the result by the limit. Okay, so the one we want to skip will be the page number minus 1. So if it's 1, 1 minus 1, 0, 0 times the limit 10 will be 0, right? So we don't want to skip anything at the first page, right? Great. And when it is page 2, 2 minus 1 will be 1, 1 times 10 will be 10, then we skip the first 10. Okay, great. So now let's fetch the information. So we'll fetch the doctors here, as well as the total records. Okay, so await, promise, or okay, so maybe I can remove this now. Great. Okay, so db doctors dot find many. Great. And the next one will also be doctors dot count. Okay, so now let's begin to pass the where condition. So in here I will just say where. Okay, so we're going to use the or condition so that in case we're searching, okay, so I have this, so we say or, then square brackets. Okay, so or where name contains search and the mode is insensitive. We also want to say specialization. Should we even search by specialization? Okay, we can leave it like that. And maybe we can also search by email. Great. So we can search the doctor by the name, specialization, or email. Great. So that's the work condition, and we want to include the working days. So set working days to true. Great. Now, okay, so now we have the information. We can put the skip to be the skip that we have, and take, which is the number of records we want to take, to be also the limit. Okay, great. So yeah, I think this should help us. Great. So here now we can say cons total pages, right? Great. We need to get the total pages by using the math.cu function. Then we'll just pass in the total records, divide by the limit. Okay, great. So once we have this, we have the total pages. Now we can return the data. So okay, so I'm going to say data to be the doctors. I'm also going to return the total records. Okay, I also return total pages, and I'll return the current page as page number. Okay, great. So these are the information that I'll return. Okay, so I can come here now and fetch the information. Okay, so here we can say cons. We want to destructure, so we say out. Okay, so cons want to destructure. Await get all doctors. Great. And we need to pass in page, which is page. We will not want to pass any limit. Let's keep it to 10, and the search will be the search query. Okay, great. So if you want to pass the limit, you can also pass it here. Here I can say, let's get the data first. So data, we'll get the data. We'll get the total pages, total records, and current page. Great. So we can say if there is no data, we want to return now. Okay, great. So for validation, let's make sure our data exists. Great, let's see. Okay, so we're getting the data. Yes, you can see it here. Okay. So here, I want to give some classes of BG white. Great. Rounded of Excel. PY of 6. PX of 3. And on 2XL, PX also of 6. Great. Another div with class, flex item, center, and justify to between. Okay. Okay, so this is similar to what we have here. So maybe I can just copy this and bring it here. Okay, it's the same title format. So just that now this will be users, right? The icon will be users, and here will be total records. Great. And I'll say total doctors. Great. Let's check the progress. Okay, so we have 10 total doctors. Okay. Okay, so this one here. Well, okay, still inside this one, right? So 2 div down. Now I can put in the search icon. So let me put it inside another div. Okay, so inside here, I think we have the search input. Search input. Okay, great. I'll import it. And I also want to put a button. A button for now here. Great. That says add doctor. Okay, add doctor. Okay, let me start this width of full, LG width of fit, flex item center, justify to between, LG, justify to start. Great. And a gap of 2. Okay, great. Let's see progress. So we have this. So we have this search and add doctors. Okay. So now we're done with this part, so down here. So down here, I can put another div, which will take the table. So import table from component tables, then columns will be the columns that we have up there. Data will be data, and render row will also be render row. Okay, great. Maybe we can style this also by say margin top of 4. Okay, so let's work on this. So here, const render row should be equal to item, and we'll return table row. Great. So this. Now below this, we'll also be needing the table data. So I'll say if pages exist, I'll say if total pages is greater than 0 or 1, let me say 1, I want to bring in the pagination. So pagination, yes, great, which takes a couple of props. So it takes the total pages, which is total pages. It takes the current page, which is current page. It also takes the total records, which is total records. Great. And I think the last one will be the limit, which will be the data limit. Okay, I'll import that one. Great. So let's see. Okay, I think to have the node, let me make it 0, or let me just say if it exists. Yeah, so that we have this node to show. Okay, great. So now let's work on this. Okay, so we'll need a key, and the key will be the item.id. Okay, so here, okay, maybe so here I can get the doctors type from Prisma client. Great. Okay, so to help us with types. So class, okay, so class will border, bottom, gray, even. Okay, great, like the ones we have been doing. Now I'll put another TD. Okay, so inside this TD, as usual, I'm going to call the profile image component. Great, and I'll pass the URL, which will be the item.image. Great, so we have pipes now. Great. We'll also have the name, which will be item.name. Great. Okay, so we can put exclamatory here to make sure this exists. Great. When that is done, I can have a div here, which will take an h3, which will take the item.name of the doctor. Great. And below it, I can have a span tag, which will take the item.specialization. Okay, so let's start this. Let's begin from this div. So class name, it will be flex, items to center, a gap of 4, and a pattern of 4. Okay, so here, maybe I need to also pass the BG color, right? Great, which is item.color code. Great, and exclamatory mark. And we can also pass the test class name, which the test will be black. Great. We can check it progress. So we have it like this. Great, we're making progress. So let's start this. Maybe here we can make it uppercase, that's all. And maybe here we can make the text a little bit smaller and say it should be capitalized. Great, let's see. Okay, so we have it this way. Great. Okay, I think I'm zoomed in. If I go out, this is how it's supposed to be. Okay, let me come up a little. Great. So now let's work on the other field. So I'll give table data here, and inside this I'll say items dot license number. Okay, great. And let's give some classes. So it will be hidden on small screens, and on MD, say table cell. That's all. Okay, and I want to duplicate this 2 more times, and this will be phone, and this as email. Okay, so here, MD, and I want this to be LG. Okay, and let me duplicate this one more time, and this one will be let's use this as the date. So let's bring the format date F and S. Then I'll pass in item dot created at, great, and I'll pass the date format YYMMDD. Okay, so here also instead of LG, I'll say SL. Okay, so we can see our progress. Okay, great. So we have it this way. So we have the license number, and the license number is very long because we use a UUID in generating them. Okay, so yeah. Okay, this is our email and this. Okay, great. So if I zoom out a little, this is how you see it. Okay, great. Okay, so after this, we can have another one. So let me bring this, and that one will be the actions. So maybe the actions will always be visible, so I'll not bring class. Okay, so I'll bring a div, and this div, I'm going to put the classes here. So I'll say flex items to center and a gap of 2. Okay, so here I'm going to call the view action. Great, so view action. Okay, so this needs an href, right? Okay, so href, great, and it will be going to doctors slash okay, so yeah, okay, so we are even in the same directory, so I can remove this. So here, so I'll just say doctors slash the doctor ID, which is the item dot ID. Okay, great. So this will be it, and also there will be the action dialog, but for that one I want to first check if the user is admin. So maybe I can put that one. Let me put it here. It's a const is admin equal to await check row, right? Import it and pass admin. Okay, so if it's admin will be true, right? If you hover it, you can see it's a boolean, right? Okay, so here I will first check is admin before I'll show that button. If it's admin, then I will show the action dialog. Okay, which I don't think it exists for now. Okay, great. So let me just comment it. Okay, so we have this, right? Great. So maybe we should quickly look at the action dialog. Okay, so let's look at the action dialog. So inside components, we can put the action dialog.tss here, arrayfc, and I'll just call it action dialog. Great. So we can go back here and import action dialog. Okay, so action dialog will take the type, which will be delete, right? Okay, so we want to delete. I want to pass the ID of the item that we want to delete, which is item.id. Great, and also the delete type. So the delete type will be doctor. Great, so it's going to be a reusable function, or yeah, of page. So yes, so these are the information. So I'll go here. Okay, maybe I can close some of these things. Okay, so here, let me get the props. So I'll just say interface action dialog props or types. Okay, so it'll have a type which is either doctor, okay, doctor, the type will either be a doctor. Yeah, it can also be for staff, as well as it can be, you can also, we're going to also use the same thing for delete. Okay. There might also be a data, so it will be optional, and I'm going to put the type as any because I don't know the data that will come. We'll also have ID, which will be a string. Should it be optional? No, I think we'll always need the ID. So let's take this one up. Okay, great. Then the delete type. The delete type can either be doctor. Maybe I can just, okay, great. Doctor, great. Or it can be staff. Great. Okay, so let me keep this here for now. Okay, so here I'll just want to accept the props. So the props of action dialog. Okay, I'm not getting it. Okay, so here, great. So the values, the data are, we'll get the ID, we can get data, no, data, we can get type, we can get the delete type. Okay, great. I think that's it. Okay, so let's work on the delete first. Okay, so just gonna say if the type is equal to delete, right? Okay, great. So if it's equal to delete, then we are going to return a dialog. Okay, great. So maybe here we can return now if it does not, oh, now if it does not match any. Okay, so type delete. So yeah, okay, 3. Okay, great. So here we're going to use dialog. So I'll just say dialog and import it from UI component. Okay, and since there are going to be interactions here, I want to mark this as a use client. Okay, because there are going to be some button click events. Okay, and we even use some hooks. So maybe I can just even import them straight from here. So I'll say router equal to use router from next navigation. Great. And we can also use a state, say loading, set loading, which will be a use state. Great. And default it will be false. Okay, loading. Great. So in here, dialog. Okay, so each dialog will have the dialog trigger. So UI dialog, not the other one. Import from UI. Make sure all the imports are from UI, then component UI, then whatever component you're importing. Okay. So this is going to act as a child. So here, so I'll just say as a child. Great. Because inside it, I want to put in a button from UI component. And inside the button, I'm going to put the trash 2 icon from Lucid React. Okay. I'm going to put a size of 16 for the icon. Great. And I can also put class, and the text you can say should be SM. I don't think it will be even be needed. Okay. So I'll just put the text color of red, dash 6 in red. Great. And here I'm just going to say if the type of delete, right, is equal to patient. On the patient page, we'll still use the same component, and if it's equal to patient, then I'll just want to show the test delete. Else on the other pages I don't want to show the test delete, so maybe I should just go and add it to this types here. Okay, great. On the other pages I only want to show the icon, I don't want to show the test, but on the patient page I want to show the test delete. Okay, or if we should show it at all the pages, that's also fine, we can show it. Okay, so let's start this component, so the button. So class name. Okay, so I'm going to say it should be flex items to center, justify to center. Okay, great. And rounded of full. Great. And the test of also red of 500. Let's also make this 500. Great. And here I want to give a variance for this button. Okay, so the variant will be outline. Great. Maybe we can check progress. So we have this icon here. Okay, so the reason I didn't want to show the test is if I show the test, right, like this, you can see it becomes a little bit long and I don't want to show it that way. So yeah, so that's why. Actually, okay, so if I zoom in, you can see the page overflows, but that's not an issue. Once I zoom out to the normal one, it has no overflow issue. Okay, great. So that's why I don't want to show that test. Okay, great. So now we're done with the trigger, so we can go to the content of the dialog. So I'll just say dialog content from UI. Great. Okay, so I'm going to put a div, and inside this div, I'm going to say flex column, items to center, justify to center, and py of 6. Okay, then I'll put a dialog title UI. Okay. Okay, so in the title, I also have a div, and the div will now have an icon of FA question, read from React icons. Okay, so make sure you have React icons installed. Okay, so I'm going to put a size of 50, very big one, and I want to put the classes of test of red dash 500. Okay, we can also start this div. So bg of red of 100. Let me make it 200. Pattern of 4. Rounded of full, and margin bottom of 2. Great. So if we go to C, and if we click here, by default, we should have something like this. Great. So we're making a headway. Okay, so after the title, I'll have a span tag, and inside the span tag, I'll just want to put, since this is delete, I'll just delete confirmation. Okay, delete confirmation. Let's style it test of Excel and the test of black. Okay, below it we can also have a paragraph tag that will just say, maybe, are you sure you want to delete this record? Great. And we can also have a star with test of SM. Okay, let's go and see. Okay, so yeah, you can put whatever test you want. So now after this paragraph tag, now we can have another div which will house the buttons. So flex, justify center, great, margin top of 6, items to center, a gap of x of maybe 3, great. So inside this, then I'll put dialog close. So dialog close, great. And inside that one, I'll put a button that will just say cancel. Okay, great. So we'll use this button, we'll click on it, the dialog close will close the dialog for us. Okay, great. So here, okay, yeah. So here, let me give the variant of outline, great. And a class name of px of 4 and py of 2. Okay, great. Let's see. Okay, so we have this here, and I click, it closes. Great. When we're done with that, we can now have another button which will do the actual operation, right? Okay, which will say yes, delete. Okay, so let's pass. I'm going to say it should be disabled when loading is true. Should I give a variant of outline? Yeah, maybe. Okay, let's also have some classes. Also px of 4, py of 2, test of sm, right? Font of medium, and destructive bg of destructive. Great. The text should be wide. Great. Hover bg destructive and hover test of still wide. Okay, let me break it down. Yes, like this. And yeah, so I think yes, that's it. Okay, so that's it. Now when we click on it, okay, so we're going to fire the action. So I'll just say on click, then I'll just call handle yeah, handle delete will be okay. Okay, so maybe I'll come inside here and just say const handle delete should be an async function. Okay. Okay, something like this. Great. Okay, so here when it is delete, maybe I can just put try catch to catch any possible error. I'll console log the error and also use the toast from sonar.say error. Great. And I'll just say something went wrong. Okay. And the try catch also has something called finally. Great. So finally I'll set loading to false. Great. And okay, so set loading to false. And at the beginning I'll set it to true. Okay, great. So what we're going to do here is okay, so let's just say const response will be await delete data by id. Okay, so this function will be let's go. So this is a server action, so we'll go inside our server actions where it's server action. Okay, here and here I want to create a general action, so I'll say general.ts to mark it as use server, and I'll just say export async function, then the name of the function. Here I'll pass this and this. Okay. Oh, okay, like this. Okay, so maybe I can call it here. Okay. And this function, the things we'll pass to it is we'll pass the ID and the delete type. Great. So once we do that, the things we'll expect back can be, we'll expect the result should have a status. So when there's success, when it is success, we will just show a toast.say record deleted successfully. Then we can use the router dot refresh. Yes, great. We'll not want to push to anyway, we just want to okay, yes, just refresh. And if not, meaning should any other thing come, we just say yeah, failed to delete record. Maybe that's good. So let's go inside here. Okay, so here we're going to have ID, which is a string, and delete type. Okay, so I can just go here and for now copy this delete type, say okay, it'll be one of this. Okay, great. So here also going to use try catch, so console log the error and also return something went wrong. Okay, great. So here we can use switch statement, right, of delete type. Okay, so here we can say case doctor. Okay, so case doctor. If it's doctor, then we can say await db and import db from db dot doctor rate dot delete rate. Then we just say where great where id equal to the id. Yes, I think this should work. Great. Okay. Now, when we delete the doctor, we also want to delete the information from clerk, right? So how can we do that? Okay, so here I'll just say if I'll say if delete okay, yeah, delete type equal to staff or delete type equal to patient or okay, no, or should delete type equal to doctor, right? Okay, so if it's equal to staff, patient, or doctor, what we want to do is I also want to delete from clerk. So we're just going to say cons client equal to clerk client import from clerk NextJs server, and we need to await it. Okay, then we can say await client right dot users dot delete user. Okay, they will just pass the ID of the user, right? Because this ID is also our clerk ID. Okay, great. So if it's not one of these, then this function will not, this snippet will not run. Okay, so once done, we can return success to true. Okay, success to true message that deleted successfully, and we can even return a status of 200. Okay. Okay, great. So now this should be, yeah, pretty cool because success now exists. Okay, great. So let's say I want to delete one of them. Who should I delete? Let's try. Okay, let's try to delete this. Now, because we created this dummy data, there is no data of these people on our clerk, right? So yeah, so let's see if this goes through. So we have this error. A TML button cannot be a descendant of a button. Okay. Okay, great. So let's see. Okay, we still have 10. Okay, so let's check our terminal and see the error that was present. Okay, so the error is that payload argument must be of type object but received now. Okay. Okay, so I figured out the error. The error is that when the appointment has so when the doctor has appointment, right, which depends on the doctor, that's why we're getting the error of deleting, right? Because if you go to the doctor's model here, if you go to the doctor's model, you can see that the doctor has appointment and the doctor's has appointment here. So I've added one record which has no appointment, which is this test user, right? He has no appointment. So that one, I think we should be able to delete it, right? So maybe what you can do, if you want to delete the doctor, then when you delete the doctor, the appointments should also be deleted because it depends on the appointment, right? So let me show you how you can do it. So like we did in the working days, right? We say that when we cascade the doctor on delete of the doctor, we also cascade. That means we delete this one. So as you add the reference to the appointment here, maybe you can say that here, right? You see that when you on cascade, where is the appointment? Where is the okay? Okay, doctor here. So we can also add this that on cascade, right? If we delete the doctor, then we delete the appointments, like we've done for the patient, that if we delete the patient, then the appointment should also go. So if I add that, I think I can add, let's see, on delete cascade. Okay, so that one, I will stop my server from running first. and just say npm prisma generate. Okay. Okay, so then I'll also say npx prisma. Okay, db push. Okay, let's see. Okay, so and that's also successful. So now I'll run back my server, npm run dev. Okay, so we can now go back to C. Okay, so here, let me reload and see if we can delete one of the doctors with appointment, right? So if there is no doctor, then there is no need to have an appointment. Okay, great. Okay, refresh. Did my server run? Oh, okay, it's running on a different port. Okay, so localhost 3000. Okay, so now the app is running on port 3000 instead of 3001. So let's look for the test user. Okay, so this is the test doctor, right? So now if I click here of delete and let's see, delete, and let's see if it's successful. Okay, we still get failed to delete, right? Okay, so let me refresh and see and make sure it wasn't deleted. Okay, so actually it was deleted. You can see now it's now 9 instead of 10. Okay, so let's see why it was so. Okay, so success. Did we get any error in our terminal? Okay, so okay, I think we also had this error. Okay, so see text. Okay, so I just added a console log to log the ID and the action, right? Okay, error. It says that not found. Error not found. Okay, so it's related to this here. Okay, so we see that if you can see this where the problem is coming from, because we do not have that data from click. So let me comment this for now, right? And let's go and see, reload or refresh the page. Okay, so which one should I delete? Let me just delete anybody. Okay, so here I'll just say delete and let's see. So now it has been deleted and now you can see we are left with 8, and I think its appointment will also be deleted. Okay, so this error says that Batham cannot be descendant of Batham, and this cause hydration. And okay, so I think I've seen it's here. Okay, so we can go here and let me close this where we have the dialog close. So I think I can put this as a child, right? Great, and let me see, refresh and let's see if I get the same error. Okay, okay, so we're not getting it again. I think it's gone. Great. Okay, so we've been able to delete, and let's see if we can search. Okay, so if I search, great, it works. Perfect. Okay, so here, if I click on view, I think it should take us to the doctor's profile because we have done that one. Let's see. Okay, so here, yeah, so now it brings us to the doctor's profile page. Okay, great. And now we're fetching the information here. Okay, so if I make it normal, this is how it will be. So let me zoom in a little. Okay, yeah, I think this is okay. Great. So yeah. Okay, so now we can view, we can delete. Okay, great. Great. So this is how it will be. Great. So now we are done with this page. Okay, so what page do we go again? So now we can go to staff. Okay, which I don't think it exists. Oh, okay, let's work on how to add doctor. Okay, so here I can close this and yeah, okay, let me uncomment this. Yeah, okay, great. Okay, so inside the forms here, I'll add doctor form .tss refc, say doctor form. Okay, so in this doctor form, okay, so I have the working days, that's from Sunday to Saturday, right? Okay, and I have the types, which is either a full-time or part-time, and I have the days type, right? So we have the day, we have the start time and the closing time. Okay, so here, let's not forget, so we're going to use form. So here we'll say use client. Okay, great. And let's get, so it's loading and set is loading, which is a state variable. So you use state, great. So false. I'm also going to have as a cons router should be use router, okay, from next navigation. And I also want to have, so I also say use state okay, so use state snippet, which will be the working days. Yeah, okay, so here the default will be an empty array, and I just want to put the types here, which is equal to days, and I'll say it's an array, right? Great, it's day, not days. Yeah, this type, referring to this type. Okay, the format will be of this type and it's an array. Okay, so let's, so let's go inside our schema and create a schema. So the schema will be that we'll take the name, we'll take the phone, we'll take the email, the address, the specialization, the license, the type, whether it's full or part-time, department, which is a string, and also the image optional and the password. Okay, great. So we can import this, we can use this in here. So we can come here and say that, okay, so here we can say cons form should be equal to use form, which is coming from React hook form, right? Good. And we'll just say z, import z also from zod.infer, great. Infer, then we just say the type of, right? Great. We'll infer the type of, and the type of should be the doctor schema. So I'll import it, doctor schema, and make sure you close the angle bracket. So there are two. This is one, and this is another one here. So two. Okay. Then, okay, we open. Now we'll need the resolvers. So resolvers, and that will be Zod resolvers. Okay, so import that from this, from React hook form slash Zod. Great. And now we'll pass in the doctor schema. Then we also pass in the default values. Okay, so the name, yes, which will be now. There's also, okay, there's also email, which will be now phone. I think it's just phone. Okay, specialization will also be now. Address now, type by default, let me set it to full or part, anyone. What are the rest? Okay, so license number. Okay, status. I don't think I'll need status, right? Okay, and color code, I also don't need it here. Maybe department, which will also be now. And let me also remove this. So department and image will also be now for now. Okay, great. So I think these are the fields. Okay, let's also put the password. I remember the password. Great. So these are the fields that we have. Okay. So let's just get also the handle submit. Okay, function. Okay, let's just get it. Okay, great. And it will also be an async function, right? Great. We'll receive values from here, and the values will be of type z.infer. Then angle brackets, inside it just a type of, then doctor schema. Great, like this. Okay. Now I will want to okay, so as usual, we're also going to use the sheet. So sheet imported from UI.sheet. Okay, great. Okay, so I'll put a button from UI and I'll put the sheet trigger. Make sure the sheet trigger is coming from also sheet. Okay, UI/sheet. Okay, great. And inside this, we can now put the plus icon from Lucid React. Then I'll add a test that add doctor. Okay, so this I can give a size of 20. Okay, so now we can go here and instead of having so instead of having this button, we can now call the doctor form. Great. And let's go and see. Okay, go back to okay, so we have it this way. So okay, maybe we can just make it that this will go out, this comes in, and let's say this will be a child to this, and let's see. Okay, so now we have it this. Great. And I think the error, the warning we're getting here, it's gonna let me reload and see. Great, so we're not getting any warning again. Okay, so okay, maybe yeah, we can leave it like that. So after the trigger, now we go to the sheet content. Okay, so I'm gonna style it. So here I'm gonna say rounded dash Excel on MD. I want the height to be 90%. On MD, top of also 5%. Okay, and MD, I also want the right to be 1%. Okay, so we're using percentages. A width of full, overflow of Y, scroll, great. Great. Okay, so inside now we have the sheet header. Okay, so the sheet header and sheet title. Okay, so sheet title, which will be add new doctor. Okay. Okay, so after the header, we can now have a div. Okay, so we can check. Great, so we have it this way. Okay, so you see the problem I was talking of in the other episode, you see that even though we are giving rounded corners, but the right side is not taking it. So maybe we can enforce that by saying rounded right dot Excel. Let's see if it will work. I'm not sure, but okay, I think that side is not working. I don't know. Okay. Okay, so inside this div, now we're going to have form from UI form. Great. Oh, it's supposed to be form, not form control, form from UI form. Great, like this. Now the form that we created, we can spread it here. Okay, so using the spread operator, I will spread this form that we have created up here. Great. So in here, now we use the HTML regular form. Okay. So this form will also have the onSubmit function. Okay. Oh, no, on scroll, onSubmit. Great. So onSubmit, we just call the form dot handle submit. That will pass our handle submit function to it. Okay, the one that we have here. Okay, great. Maybe we can also give some classes to this. So classes, class name. I'm going to say space of y of 8, margin top of 5, add-on 2 Excel, margin top of 10. Okay, great. So now, if you remember, we have a custom input which we can use. So I'll call that and begin to pass the various props. So the type, it's going to be, the first one is going to be radio, right? Radio button. And I don't think radio exists for now. So let's go inside it and see. Okay, so here, if we see, we have types for test area, check, select. We don't have radio, so maybe I can just say, okay, so we have a case for radio, and let's see, okay, we have radio here. So, okay, this is supposed to be inside the case here. So maybe may want to put it somewhere here. Okay, great. So here I am using, okay, so form label radio group. Let's see if we did it. Okay, yes, we have radio group from UI radio group, and also import the radio group item from radio group, not from Radix UI, not from Radix UI. Also label here. Okay, great. So we're using the radio group, and just displaying the various select radio buttons here, right? Great. So we use the radio group items, and we use the label, and we have the values that will pass from here there. Okay, so here now we have the radio. Okay, so what are the other things? We just pass a select list, which will be the types that we have up there. So if you remember, we have types. Okay, great, which is this types. So I want to show this type, right? I told you it has label and value. Okay. There's also the control. So control will be the form.control. Okay, form control. The name will be type. Okay, the label will also be type. And what again? Maybe the placeholder. Placeholder, let's put now because we don't need it. At the default value, I'm going to put a default value, which will be full, right? Great. So yes, that's it. We can see. Let's see if we have it. So now we have it like this type, this, all that, this, all that. Great. So the other one should be pretty simple. So we can also have the custom input. Okay, I think I have a suggestion. So custom input. Okay, this will be an input, the form control. This one will be name. An example, I'm putting doctor's name. Okay, placeholder, and here name. Maybe I can just say full name. Yeah, great. And the next one, I'm just gonna have a div. Okay, class, I want it to flex, items to center, and a gap of 2. Okay, so inside I am going to say, okay, I have a suggestion. So I have 2, so I'm going to show 2 things, right? This time I want it to be a select, great, form control, and this will be Okay, this will be specialization. Okay, great. And placeholder will be select specialization. Okay. Okay, specialization. Okay. And the label will be also will be specialization. Okay, great. And now I also will have to pass the select list. Great. Which will be the specialization. I don't think I have that. So inside the, I think we have a settings file. Okay, so if I go inside my utils, I think I have this index or settings here. Great. So here I'll put the specialization. So I generated some dummy specialization using ChatGPT. Okay, so it has to label the value and the department, right? Okay, great. Such are common specializations in the hospital. So yeah, so I'll just import that here. So specialization, great. And the next one will be the department. So this one will also be an input from control, and this will be department, right? So once we select this, we get a department here. And by default, I'm going to put OPD, like OPD, yeah. And the label will be department. Okay, so let's go and see. Okay, so we have the name and we have select department. So if I select, now you can see the department is not working, even though we have selected the specialization. So what we can do to fix that, it's really simple. Okay, so we can go up here, right? And we'll use a use effect to detect changes. And okay, so make sure you import use effect from React. Okay, so here, what we're going to do is that we're going to say, let's come here first. We're going to say specialization should be equal to form dot watch. Okay, so the form has a watch function, right, where we can watch for any changes. So where are we watching? We're going to watch for the specialization, right? Okay, any changes that happen in the specialization. Okay, and now maybe I can just make our life easier by saying selected specialization. Yes, so that we'll know. And I will just put that one as a dependency here, right? Okay, so whatever this change, I will call this use effect will be run. So I'll say if selected specialization exists, then I'm going to say cons department should be equal to specialization. That's the specialization data that we have, right? Okay, dot. Then I'm going to find, use find. Okay, so I get each element and I'll check if the element dot value, right? If the element value matches the specialization that we have, right? I want to find it where the value equal to the specialization. Okay. So I'll say if department, so meaning if we get department, right? Great. Meaning if we get department here, then what we can do is that we'll say form dot set value. Okay, so the form also has a set value. And what value are we setting? We're going to set department by placing in this department. Now, but this department will have the options of the label, the value, and the department. So say department dot department. Great. Okay, so this should fix it. Great. So maybe let's check and see. So if I click here and I select any department and we get it here. I mean, if I select any specialization, we get its department also here. Okay. And I think the departments and the okay, they are not the same. They are not the same. Okay, so this is a cardiologist and the department is cardiovascular. Okay, great. Okay, so let's continue. So maybe I can just copy one of this after this div, put it here, and maybe this one will be the license number. Okay, so here I just say license number. Okay, maybe this and this will also be the same. And the next one, we're gonna have another one. So div. Okay, so we're gonna have another two, and this one is also going to be the email, right? An example is this. We'll put in John Doe example. Then this will be for phone number. Okay. After that, then we can have another two. Okay, so we can have another one for the address, and this one it's for the password. And the password, we're setting the input type as password so that we will have the secure entry, right? That when you enter your password, nobody will see it. Great. Great. So this is what we have. Now we left with the working days, right? Okay. So that one, what we're going to do is I'm going to have a div, and now I'll put a label, import label from UI, which says working days. Okay. Then I'm going to say switch input by passing the data, which is the working day that we have up there, rate. And I'll also pass disable as is loading. So when it is loading, we also want to disable this. Okay. So let's create this component. Great. Okay. Let's give a little bit class here for margin top of 6. Okay, so we'll go into the custom input here, and okay, so I want to put that one here. Says export cons. Okay, so cons switch input, right? Great. Okay, so I will just bring the types. Okay, so we have types of day, right? And also the switch props, which is we're going to have the data, and the data will be in the format of label and value, which is an array. Then we'll also have set the default work schedule, which will be a React prop. So yeah, React dispatch with React set state action, right? And the type will be of this day, and it will be an array. Okay. So in here, we're going to have, let me destructure them. So switch props. Okay. Then I'll get the data as well as set work schedule. Okay. Okay. As I set work schedule here. Okay. So maybe I can go here and I said, okay. Okay. Maybe this should be set. I think set working something. Okay. I said set working days. Okay. Okay. And I can now import this. Great. Okay, so we have it this way. So here we will need the handle change function. Okay, so I'll leave it here for now, and I'll now return a div. Okay, inside the div, now we're going to map over the data, right? Okay, to get each element with its ID and ID, and instantly we'll return another div. Great, like this. Okay, so this div, let me put the key first. The key will be the ID here. Okay, so let's start this div. I don't think it will be even necessary. So let's start this div instead. Okay, so let's start this one. Okay, so I'm going to say with a full flex item to center and space of y of 3, right? Okay, and border dash top, and the border should be of top dash gray dash maybe 200, then py of 3. Okay, so inside this we're going to use the switch input from, I don't think we installed the switch. Okay, so I don't think we installed it, so let's grab the install statement and just install it cn and search for switch. So I'll just go here and say switch. Okay, so here grab the installation command, right? Okay, and I'll open another terminal and just install it like this. Okay, okay, so that's success. So switch from UI/switch. Okay, great. And that's the self-closing switch. Okay, so what are the values we can pass? Now we can pass the ID as i.value. Sorry, the ID will be the element.value, right? Okay, because this element has a value. Okay, great. Then we can also have class. So I'm going to say data dash. Okay, so I want to detect its state, right? So the data that we attach to it, if the data dash its state is equal to checked, right? Okay, so if the data, meaning if we check it, right, the state will be checked. Okay, so if it's checked, what I would say is that bg should be blue-600. Okay, I want to say peer. Great. And let me also pass blue. Okay, let me also pass the onChange onCheck change. Great. onCheck change, I'll get the event and I'll call the handle change function, right, and pass the element.value. Great. And I'll pass through and I'll also pass the start time by default, so 0900. Okay, I'll pass the start time as 9. Okay, so we're going to work on this function soon. Okay, so after this one, then we can have a label. Okay, I think it's imported already, and the label will house the value. Okay, great. We can also say this one should have a width of 20, and I'm going to say the HTML4, right, great, should be element.value. Great. Okay, maybe let's go and work on this function, then we'll come back here. Okay, so this function here is going to take the day, right, the day, which is a string, because the value that we've selected here is the day, right? Okay, it's a string. It will take that. Then it will also take the field. I'm going to say field, which will be of type any, right? Okay, and the value also, which will be of type string. Okay, we want to pass, sometimes we'll pass different things that are not true. That's why I'm setting it to any. Okay, great. So in here, I'll call the set work schedule, right? Okay, and get the previous dates. So I'll say previous days, right? Maybe previous days has been selected. Okay. Okay, so here, now that I have it, so I'll just say so I'll say days exist, right, equal to, then I'll check the previous days dot find. So if I find the day, so I'll call it d, and say that if d.day equal to this day, right? Okay, so this previous day, okay, so if I check the previous, and I want to find out if the day exists, right, which is the day, we have the day, because if you check, we have day. So d.day, if it's equal to the day that we've passed here, right? Okay, so if day exists, okay, great. So if the day exists, they'll just want to return pref days, great, dot map. Okay, so we want to map over it and return d.day equal to day. So we want to map over it and check if, it should be d.day, if d.day is equal to this, right? Okay, then we just spread the day that we have, and we'll add the field, okay, field will be equal to the value, else we return D. Okay, so here what we're saying is that we want to check if, as we map over it, we get each day. If the day is equal to this, if it's equal to that, then we just spread it. So maybe it means that you're changing the time of that particular day. So we'll just pass the new value to the field, right? Okay. If it does not, meaning that's a new one, then we just add it right into the new day. Okay. So now we can also have the else condition here. Says that if a field rate is equal to true, right? So okay, if the field is equal to true, meaning we just maybe want to do something else. So I'll put this and say we'll spread the prev days, previous days. Then we just say day, we'll add day. Then we'll add start time at 09.00, right? Great. And close time also at 17.00. Okay, so if it is true, meaning we are now adding, right? We just want to add this. Okay, setting the default time to 9 and this. Okay, so after this, we can also say, no, not here. We can also give an else statement to this if it's true. What if it's not true? We can also do return, right? By spreading the prev days. Oh, by spreading the prev days. Great. And we'll call day. Then the field, maybe you want to change the field value, then we'll also change it, right? Okay. So I hope you get what we're doing here. Okay, so now this one should go away. Okay, so now we have the label as this. Okay, so after this, we can have another label. And this one will be not working on this day. Okay, so that is the test. And let's put classes. So I'm going to say test should be gray dash 400. The font should be normal. Okay. Okay, it should be this. Great. Okay, label. Great. And this should be the classes. So normal. Okay, great. Normal. And I'm going to say it should be italic. Peer dash data dash. Okay, so I'm also going to check its state to see if the state is equal to checked. If it's equal to checked, then I'll just say hidden rate. Okay, pattern left of 10. Okay, so what we're doing is that I am checking the state because it's dependent. You see, there's this pair, right? So if this state is checked, then it means that the state is checked. So I just want to hide this test. That is, if it is not checked, then I'll show that not working on this day. I hope you get the concept. Okay, so below this, I can give another div. Maybe we can check our progress. So if I click here, okay, so I have this working days. It's coming up. Okay. Okay, so I think the border wasn't showing because of the scroll. Okay, the scroll handler. Okay, great. So now I'm going to give this div, and inside this div, I'll put an input. Okay, input for the type. Okay, so the name of the input will be AR dot label rate. Okay, it should be this. Okay, put in parentheses. Okay, so get the label like this, and I'll just say dot start time. Okay, so the name will be the label, whatever label it is, then dot start time. Okay, I'm also going to say the type should be time, and default value should be 09.00, and on change. Okay, on change, I'll get the event, and I'll call the handle change function. Great. And pass the element dot value, then pass start time. Great. So this means that we're going to change the start time, right? That's why we set this value here to be any, because you realize at this point it was true, and at some point it's that. Okay, great. So start time, they will pass in e.target.value. Okay, they will pass the value also. Great. Then maybe I can just duplicate this one more time, and this time here, instead of start time, will be close time. Okay, here will also be close time. Okay, and here by default will be 17, which is 5. Okay, great. I hope you understand. Okay, so let's start this div. I'm going to say this should be hidden, right? It will be hidden if it's that day is not selected. I'm going to say peer dash data. Great. Then I'll call the state equal to checked. Okay, so if it's checked, then it should be flex items to center gap of 2, then PL of also 6. Okay, I hope it will work. Great. So here we're getting it's not assignable, so maybe I can just say this. Okay, so I'm getting that working days is not assignable. Okay, so I think I've seen the problem. The problem might be that it is perhaps taking this working day, because this is also called working days. So let's change one. Let's change this from working days to working schedule. Okay, so I'm going to say working schedule, and now I think it's a work. Great. So there were conflicting names. Okay, so let's see, and click here, and let's see. Okay, so now we have this. So now if the day is not checked, as you can see, it says not available. But if I check it, now you can see the time, and now I can select the time. Okay, great. So I think the labels, yeah, kind of small letters. Maybe okay, I want to maybe make it capitalized. So I'll go here, and where is the label? I think this is the label. So I can make it say capitalized. I think it's this one. And let's go and see. Okay, so it's capitalized. So now we're left with the button. So let's go and put the button. Then let's be hopeful that we can save it successfully. Okay, so after this, below it, still inside the form, I'll put the button. Okay, so I believe the button is imported already, and I'll just say submit. Okay, I'll just say submit, and the type will be submit. Great. And what again do I need? I'm going to say it should be disabled when loading is true. Is it loading? Oh yeah, it's loading. And maybe, yeah, that's all. So let's go and see. Maybe let me see if I can set that the width of the form should the button should be full width. Great, like this. And yes, the validations work perfectly. Great. So let's do how we can save it. Okay, so we can go inside our handler. Okay, which is this. Yes, here. We can put a try catch. Okay, so try catch, console log the error. Okay, and we can also use the toast, import it from toast_error, and just say maybe something went wrong. Oh, okay, something went wrong. Okay, so here, first I want to check if there are working days. So I'll say working schedule, right? Oh, not this, not this, not this. I don't know where that's coming from, but this work schedule. Oh, it's work schedule. So work schedule dot length. If the length is equal to 0, right? Okay, then we'll just say dot error that please fill as yeah, select or fill anyone. Okay, select at least one work schedule and we'll return. But if there's a work schedule, we set is loading. We set is loading to true, and now we call create new doctor. Okay, so in this create new doctor, we're going to spread the values, right? And also add the working, I'll call it work schedule to be the work schedule, and password, I'll not trim it. Okay, so we have to create this function. Okay, so here who will do the creating? It's the admin. So we can go inside our actions and now create one for admin. Admin.ts use server. Okay, now export async function. Then the function name is this. Okay. Oh, why do I always put this thing? Okay, so export default async. No, maybe yeah, just like this. And maybe I can now just import it here. Okay, like this. So if it goes through, right? If it goes through, we'll return a success, right? And just say doctor added successfully. Then we'll refresh the router and set the work schedule to now, and also reset the form, right? Great. Okay, so this, okay, yeah, like this. So let's go inside. Okay, I mean, close some of these things. Okay, so in this function, what are the data we are accepting? Maybe we can just say data to type of any. Yeah, maybe, just maybe. Okay. So try catch. Okay, great. So console log the error, right? Yeah, for debugging purposes, and we can also return error as true. We can even say success false, and the message will be as usual, something went wrong. Something went wrong. Okay, great. So here, what we can do is that we can also validate our data. So we can say value should be equal to doc, I think it's doctor form schema, yeah, doctor schema dot save pass, right? Yeah, I think it's save pass. I think it's save pass like this. Okay, then I'll pass in the data. Great, to check it. Okay, so cons, I'm also going to do the working days values equal to, I don't think I have the working days schema. So I also want to go to schema. Okay, so I have this. I don't remember having the working days, so I think I can also put that one here. Working days, which will be this schema here. Okay, so yeah, so each working day will have the day will be one of these, the start and time, everything. So I think I should move this above this one. Okay, great. So the working day schema, right, will be an array of this, which is this, right, and it is optional though. Yeah, so here I think, okay, great. So I can import that one from here. Okay, and also call the save pass and passing the data that we receive. So the data will be inside the working, I think it's work, forgotten. It's work, no, this work schedule. So like this, great. So to validate all the data that we are receiving. Okay, so once these data are validated, right, we can now say values, right, which is the first one, dot success, right? Okay, so success. Okay, so let me check if it's false. Okay, so once the success is false, right? And also let's check the working. Yes, also if the success is also false here, false meaning they didn't pass the schema validation, right? Okay, so if it's false, then we're just going to return that success of false, error of true, now error of true, and a message of please provide all required info. Yeah, you can put anything you want. Okay, like this. Okay, so but if it's true, then we just get that validated values will be equal to values dot data. Okay, so I can delete the will I even need, okay, yeah, I think I'll need the user. So now I need to create a user, so I'll just say client equal to await, yeah, await click client. Okay, like this. Then I'll just say cons user equal to await client dot user users dot create. Okay, so create user, where we need to pass in the information. So I'm going to pass the email. Okay, so I have suggestions. So email will be an array, right? If you remember how we destruction it, so they'll pass the validated email. The phone number will be phone if it exists, and the password will also be this password. And first name. Okay, so first name and the last name. So here I'm going to split the name and take the first one as the first name and split it and take the last name as the last name. Then set the public metadata as doctor. Okay, so yes, this should help us create it. Okay, so now I can also create, say, doctor should be equal to await db and make sure it's imported from libs. I'll say doctor great dot create, right? Great, and I'll say data should be equal to, I want to spread the validated values and also add an ID of user.id. Okay, so how will I get this user ID, which is from, yes, this user, the click user ID will be here. But in order to avoid an error, because in our doctors, we don't take password, right? So this can give us an error. So what we can do is that to avoid it, what we can say is that we can say, we can use delete validated values, right? Okay, so what field do we want to delete? We want to delete the password. Okay, we want to remove the password from the object. Okay, so that's a pretty simple tip. Okay, so once we then, we can also now say await maybe promise.all, promise.all. Okay, by saying working, is it working? Work days values. Okay, so yeah, work days, which is this. This one. Okay. Okay. Here, maybe workdays value. Okay, maybe here also we can say cons working days, and I'll call this data should be equal to working days value dot data. Yes, so that I'll use this one instead. Okay, so here I'll just say this dot map. Okay, great. So I'll map over it to create. So say db dot, okay, working days, great, dot create. Okay, so I'll just put the data as, I'll just spread this, and I'll say doctor underscore ID should be I can just say doctor dot ID. Okay, so this doctor ID is this doctor here, and okay, so okay, so I think I'm having a little bit of error. Okay. Okay, so maybe I can say this will be there. Okay, great. So I'll just put an exclamation that this will exist. Yeah. Okay. So I think that's it. Maybe we could have also used create many. I mean, create many and just passing the information. Okay, I think the reason I didn't use it is because the this data does not have the doctor ID. Okay, okay. I think that's the reason. Okay. So here we can now return success of okay, so success of true. Okay, so success of true, and a message of doctor added successfully. Yeah. Okay. And yeah, maybe error also of false. Okay, so something like this. Okay, great. So now let's go back here and check why. Okay, so here, okay, so here we're getting message not, yes, it's message. Great. So let's try and see. Okay, so let me refresh the page. Okay, and I'll go to doctors. Okay, so I'll click on this. Okay, so if I click here, the validations are working. So I'll just say test doctor. I'll select cardiovascular. Okay, here I'll just put any number. Okay, so test doc. Yeah, test doc, and yeah, I'll just put dummy information, password. Okay, so yeah, I'll select some of these things and see if we'll go through. Okay, so I get an error of something went wrong. Let me also see this, say that uncontrolled component. Okay, okay. So let's see from our terminal. This is our terminal. So here, okay, so here we're getting the error from, I think from here. Yes, from click client. Okay, that's where the issue is coming from. Okay, so it has a field called unexpected entity. So maybe we have a field which is not supposed to be there. Okay, so I think the error is from here, because this is not supposed to be an array, right? Okay, so is it supposed to be phone number or phone? I'm not sure whether it's phone or phone. Okay. Phone number is supposed to be an array. Okay, let me comment that for now. Okay. Okay, so let's go and try it again. Okay. Let me reload first. Okay, this test doctor cardio, any number here. Okay, so the uncontrolled field error, it's coming from this, right? Okay, so I think we can just be fixing them straight up from here. So we can go here. It says okay, great. So license number, yeah. Okay, so I think it should fix the issue. Refresh. Okay, so yes, okay, this works. So test doctor, this, okay, so no error for now. So test doctor, okay, any number, any address, password, and I'll select the days, some of the days here. Okay, so you see that when I select, I think the color blue is not working, so we'll fix that. Click on submit and let's see. Okay, great. It says doctor has been added successfully. And now if you check here, you can see we have test doctor with the information in here. If I also go to users, let's see if it has been added to our clerk. Okay, so users. Okay, so users, now we have test doctor also here, right? Great. So test doctor, the last login, it's not good because the person hasn't logged in yet. So that's why we have 1970. Okay, so let's check on how we can fix this select issue. Okay, so maybe I can close this. So as you know, the error was coming from this phone number. Yeah, so you can remove it as we'll not even be needing it. If we need the phone number, we'll need the phone number from the doctor table here. So maybe you can remove that one from here. Okay. Okay, so it's here, and I think it's inside switch something. Okay, yes, the switch input. We said if create the switch, so if it's equal to checked, then it should be blue. Okay, so you can see here is a problem. So dash 600. Great. So let's go check again. Okay, so now if I check, it's blue, right? Great, 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 great. So now I've been able to create the doctor dashboard, right? We've been able to create this dashboard. We created users page here. Okay, we've also created the doctors. Great. So in the next episode, we'll create the staff and patient. I think the patient exists, right? List of patients. Okay, patients does not exist. So in the next one, we'll create the patients and the staff, right? Okay, great. And maybe appointment exists already. Okay. So don't forget to like and subscribe. You can also find the source code in the links in the description. Thank you.